Hi guys, Shelly here with the Gray Wren Nest. Today you're going to watch a digital design turn into a quilt, stitch by stitch. In part 1 of my Repper series, we turned a simple doodle into a seamless, repeating pattern, also known as a Repper tile. In part 2, that Repper tile became a full smart panel. And then that smart panel was turned into a fabric line at Spoonflower. And then in part 3, this is where you're at today. I am taking you behind the scenes. We are going to take this smart panel over to the long arm and quilt it with QCT6 Pro Select and Sew with multi-pattern placement. Hi guys, Shelly here with the Gray Wren Nest. Today's the day, and as promised, we are going to quilt these two pieces of fabric together and make a beautiful pattern to share with the high school students that created the original patterns, all of these. We're going to take it to them and show them just what they made with all of their Repper tiles. So the really cool thing that I like about this fabric is that it already comes with an additional border here that I can attach my leader cloth to. I don't think I have to add any more. And you know, my bungee cords that go on the sides, that's going to be very helpful, so it won't get caught up in the stitching. And what's really cool in this border is the name, the Gray Wren Nest. Oh, I feel so official. And also the color palette. How cool is that? Now you're going to notice that throughout this video, I call this smart panel cheater cloth. I quilted this panel a few months back, and I'm just now getting around to being able to do this part of the video. The Georgia Long Arm Quilt connection that I belong to, our group decided to change the name cheater cloth to smart panel because we are working smarter, not harder, and we're certainly not cheating. So if you like these smart panels, there will be more to come, I promise. So I'm using pieces of scrap batting to use up my scraps since this is a demonstration quilt. And I have some light fusible iron-on interfacing here. And I just cut it in an inch strip. I'm going to just put it on here and iron it on. And notice I can't iron it. I'm just laying it on top just to get it to stick and hold it together. And you'll never notice it underneath the quilt, inside the sandwich. That's the beauty of this. Over at the long arm, when you turn on your QCT6, you will notice that when you purchase the gold feature, your screen will look like this. But you want to go into Select and Sew. Select and Sew holds your marking tools, and once you hit the plugin, you will also see the gold feature of multi-pattern placement. So the neat thing about my pattern is that I know since I made a whole cloth quilt cloth, every one of these convex squares are the exact same size, and every one of these melon slices are the exact same size. That's really a cool option when you have a cheater cloth. Now the really cool thing about this is that I am going to take the foot of my machine, and the reason I'm picking this middle row here is because my top row I'm going to have to do some fabric compensation because the top of my melons are cut off. So I'm going to start where I know I don't have to do any measuring right now other than just making my marks. So let's get started. Now, since this is multi-placement of patterns, I could have easily placed a melon and a square and a melon and a square and a melon and a square on a continual basis and sewn them out in a row. However, I decided that for the purposes of this demonstration, I would keep it simple and sweet. And I'm going to start with my melons. So this top row here, you'll notice on the left side, I started at the bottom of the center point of the square, and I went up with my marking tool on the fabric, and I placed a node and on the screen, and then I moved over to the right, which took me to the right side of the square, and on the screen I hit the node again, which put a mark on my screen. Then I went down to the bottom of the square and I placed another marking, and I just kept, it was like a little stair step or a ladder or however you want to look at it. That's how I made the markings on my screen, by following the pattern on the quilt. So I hope this visual helps you, because I'm not real handy at splitting my screen to show you how I'm doing it simultaneously, but this gives you a good visual of the next steps that I take. So you can see on my multi-placement, I have my marking tool going across. So everything that's going up and down will be where I put the next placement of my design. So my next one's going to go on this line here. And I want to make sure that this has stitch lines. So I'm going to say press pattern. And then it says, would you like to place this pattern again? I'm going to say yes. If I say no, and then I copy it because I want this exact size, what I have found is that not only does it copy a new one here, this size, but it copies this one again. And then by the time I get down to the end of the row, this one stitches out like 4 or 5 times before it moves on to the next one. And that's not good. So this is my workaround. I don't know if it's a flaw in the program or if that's just the way it's supposed to be done. It seems like if you would copy this size and then just shift it over, it should just shift. And I bring in again, regular size, and then I want to place it over here. And I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so my marking tool, my next line on my marking tools, they were right here. And I'm assuming you know how to do marking tools. I showed you at the very beginning how I was doing it. So I'm skipping that part right now. But I want to place the new design that's really big on that mark. And my next mark is right here. Well, I have been practicing, and my next mark, this is an actual 2-inch wide ruler, and my design is 2 inches wide. So I put down my ruler here, then I go over here, and I make sure I'm in the middle of those 4 petals with my ruler. And I know that I want the top of the design to go right there. So up here on my screen, I want it to turn this way, so I'm going to press this one. It's going to look funky for a while. Okay, and then I want to press, I think I actually slid my thing up. Let me redo this one. Okay, shift it on over. And I'll hit this one. Now see what it's doing, it's putting it on one line. That's okay. Come on down. my ruler right where it needs to be. Place this one. And come across. So I'm placing another row of melons, and see how I have that guideline, those markings? That's to ensure that I'm getting the melons on there correctly. I know for a fact the melons are 2 inches wide, and I have a 2-inch wide ruler here. So that makes it really, really easy. And if I didn't have the exact size, I would be making a template, because this gives you the consistency you need in order to make your placements, because look how beautiful these are. They're spot on. So that's how I place my multi-placement patterns. So one more time here. I just placed this one. So I want to say, yes, I like the pattern. Do I want to place it again? Yes. And it comes in big. And I know I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. I used to say no, and then I would copy it, but then it copied all of these again, and really ruined my design because it would stitch out 3 and 4 times in the same spot. So I'm no expert, and if I'm missing a step, I hope somebody from the Grace Company lets me know what it is, but this is working for me. All right, so I have it down here. I'm ready to place my first node, and my first node right here. And it takes it there. And then I come down to the edge of the ruler, and I place my next node, and see how spot on that is? Beautiful. Then I will move my ruler over to this section and do the same thing, and I will place these 2 nodes right here, and it'll place my next melon. I don't know about you, but that looks gorgeous. I almost am debating not to put anything here in the middle because it shows off that beautiful tile that the high school students made. Otherwise, I'm going over it with thread and changing the look of it. How beautiful is that? I might just outline it. I might just go up through here and just do an outline. Instead of putting a design in each one. I don't know. I have to think about it. But that is stunning. After thinking, I did decide to put a very simple design in the center of each of those convex squares. It's a 4-point placement. I will show you how real quickly. It's an easy thing. Remember the original screen where I showed you the lines of how to trace on to the quilt top? Well, take a look at the bottom row, and I just drew just a rectangle box around all of my squares in that row, and I wanted to ensure that the 4-point placement did not exceed the top of the red line and the bottom of the red line. And it's as simple as that. So let me show you how real quick. So you're essentially placing the pattern again, but this time it's the star pattern, but it's within that 4-point placement, just like we did the melons. The reason I drew the box, the rectangle box, is for a visual for me. I wanted to make sure that they aligned properly and that my convex square pattern did not exceed the lines. If it did, I just moved my nodes up or down so that it fell within the upper red line or the lower red line and not outside the lines. Sewing tip of the day. Actually, it's a quilting tip. Have you ever had beautiful stitches on the front, only to see later on where you think your stitches on the back look beautiful and they don't? It actually wasn't a tension problem. I simply didn't like the color of thread against that very busy pattern on the back. I think the pattern was just too busy for my liking, but I loved the pattern, so that's why I picked it. However, rather than tearing out all my beautiful stitches because the front was absolutely gorgeous, I decided to buy a complimentary minky blanket off of Amazon, and this was $11. Kid you not, and it was a perfect fit, and it even allowed me to do self-binding. I had enough material around the edges to do self-binding. So here you see me using the minky on the back and making it just as beautiful as if it were planned. No one needs to know but you and me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll be sure to post more how-to videos in the future.